All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into something pretty wild. It's a theory from a book called Encrypted Reality, and it basically asks, what if everything you think you know about ancient history is just wrong? Not just a little wrong, but a completely fabricated story.
So where do we even begin with a claim like that? Well, the whole thing kicks off with this one single puzzle. It's a weird little anomaly that, doesn't quite fit into the neat boxes of our standard historical timeline.
Okay, so check this out. On the one hand, you've got Sargon of Akkad over in Mesopotamia, around 2300 BC. And then, way over in Egypt, you have a ruler named Apophis, around 1600 BC. We're talking centuries apart, totally different places, and absolutely no record of them ever talking or sharing tech. And yet, they both used the exact same advanced brickmaking techniques for these huge flood control projects. I mean, how does that happen? The author of this theory says, well, it's not a coincidence. It's a breadcrumb. It's a deliberate clue left behind.
So, to figure out what's going on here, we're going to follow the author's train of thought. We'll start with this impossible connection, then look at who might be behind it, the watch. We'll see what tools they used, how their influence might have spread across the world, and then we get to the really big one, completely rewriting the historical timeline. All right, first up, an impossible connection. Let's really dig into how this one little puzzle about some bricks could possibly unravel the entire story of ancient history.
So, if it's not just random chance, then what is it? The answer this theory gives isn't some dusty artifact dug out of the ground. No, it's a completely different way of looking at history itself. It suggests there's a hidden hand, a secret group that has been pulling the strings all along.
And that group is called the Watch. The core idea here is absolutely staggering. History isn't something that happened. It's a script that was written, and it was written and controlled by this secret society. The book claims they work through these master agents, like this one operative they call G, who, get this, was supposedly the same guy behind 3 different historical geniuses, Alberti, Nezahualcóyotl, and Pachacuti, all at the same time on different continents.
So, you're probably thinking, okay, why? What's the motive? And it's not what you'd expect, like money or world domination. The theory says it's something way deeper, almost instinctual. It's this so-called Neanderthal legacy reflex, a subconscious drive, supposedly from their ancient ancestors, to control our human story. And to keep that control, they'd trigger these massive societal resets. Things like plagues or collapses, just to keep everyone in the dark and maintain their hidden influence.
But hold on. A single group controlling all of history for thousands of years? I mean, how is that even possible? Well, the author says they did it by weaponizing 3 fundamental things: language, math, and myth.
And this quote here, it's a perfect window into how they supposedly used their first tool. It's from Alberti, who, remember, is claimed to be that operative G. He's talking about teaching kids the alphabet, but in this theory, that's not about education. It's about spotting and recruiting new talent for the Watch.
You see, the theory goes that the alphabet wasn't invented to set people free with knowledge. It was designed for control. They created this one original alphabet, right, Proto-Canaanite. Then they made sure most people couldn't read or write. So, for the very few who could, literacy became, it was like the world's first encryption software. And every alphabet that came after, Greek, Latin, you name it, was just an update, a guided evolution to maintain that control.
Okay, which brings us to their second weapon, math. And this number right here, that's phi, the golden ratio. And according to this theory, this wasn't just some cool number for artists and architects. Oh no, it was a closely guarded secret, one of the fundamental keys to their power.
The idea is that knowledge of numbers like pi and phi was basically a form of cosmic code. It was secret knowledge, passed down from operative to operative, and by embedding it into huge structures, from the pyramids in Giza to Teotihuacan, they were basically stamping their secret order onto the world. It's like a silent message that only the initiated could read. All right, so they have their tools, language and math. And this is where the theory just explodes in scale. Because the argument is that these patterns,
These signatures aren't just in one part of the world. Nope, they're everywhere. A global fingerprint.
I mean, think about this. Have you ever noticed how many cultures have the exact same core myth? The heroic storm god who slays a giant serpent. You see it in Egypt, you see it in India, you see it with the Norse god Thor. The theory says this isn't a coincidence. It's not some organic Jungian archetype. It's a template. It's a story that was deliberately planted over and over again as a signature.
And it's not just in stories, it's in the actual historical record. Just look at this timeline. Around 1650 BC, boom, the Hyksos show up in Egypt. 100 years later, bam, the Kassites take over Babylonia. Right after that, the Mitanni pop up in Syria. All three are these foreign elites. All of them are masters of the horse and chariot, and they all appear and take power in this incredibly short span of time. Is that an accident? The book says no way. That's a coordinated invasion.
So you've got the impossible bricks, the repeating myths, the perfectly timed invasions. All of these threads, according to the author, weave together to form the theory's most shocking claim. This is the big one. This is where we stop just reinterpreting history and start completely tearing it down and rebuilding it.
Okay, so get ready for this. The theory claims that ancient Rome, ancient Greece, even ancient Egypt, they didn't happen thousands of years ago. In fact, they didn't happen in antiquity at all. They are fabrications created during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, with their entire histories compressed into just a few centuries between the 1200s and the 1500s. All of ancient history, just a phantom created to give us a false backstory. Now this sounds crazy, I know, but the author argues this is the master key that makes everything else click into place. Suddenly, all those anomalies make sense. For example, you know the mysterious Bronze Age collapse around 1200 BC, blamed on the Sea Peoples? And you know the Age of Exploration in the 15th century AD? Well, in this model, they're not 2,500 years apart. They are the exact same event, just described in two different fabricated histories.
And this right here really sums up the whole argument. A single weird thing, you can ignore it. An outlier. But when you have a whole constellation of them, identical bricks, identical myths, identical historical events, at some point you have to ask if it's really a coincidence or if you're looking at a deliberate design.
Look, we've barely even scratched the surface of this thing. It's an incredibly deep and detailed theory, and whether you think it's a brilliant insight or just a really creative piece of fiction, it does leave you with one heck of a final thought, doesn't it? It makes you question everything. If your mind is buzzing right now and you want to go further down this rabbit hole, all the source material, the author's research, the full audiobook this is all based on, it's all available on their website. Thanks for tuning into The Explainer.